Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I am here for the third lecture of the public administration in Pakistan. It is a very interesting topic as you have learned about it in the previous two lectures about its definition. In the first lecture, I introduced the books and the material that we are going to cover in this semester. And in the second lecture, I explained some of the definition. It was a very, very basic start, as usual, as it should be for any of the topic. So I would like to give you a brief summary what we explained in the previous lecture number 2. It was just a definition of the public administration, very vast, very interesting, and very critical subject nowadays. What were the definition? We covered 2 or 3 kinds of definition. The political definitions, simply it was delimiting the role, although it is a very vast subject, but at least up to some extent we have to delimit it. Then we studied about the legal definition and then managerial definition. We will continue this process today, starting from the new kind of definition, and then we will go into some other aspects. So I would like to start formally now lecture number 3. So after the political, legal and managerial definition of the public administration, it is necessary to cover some other aspects of this definition. The ultimate objective of all the definition is same, but you can say the only angle is the different. To reach the same destination, different approaches adopt different, you can say, the path. But the ultimate objective, or you can say objective or its destination, remain the same. Public administration is an occupational category. Now you can see the occupational category, and what is in the occupational category? It is whatever public employees in the world do. Very comprehensive. Not a single part of this universe, this planet is missed. Everywhere the employees of any public organization, if I am delimiting myself, and I should be, because this is public administration, so I am saying that all the employees that are working for any kind in the public institution, it is called the public administration. For example, but it is interesting that many of the employees keep on working, but they do not believe that they are the public administration. But it should be categorically remembered that each and every employee of the public institution or the part of the public administration is he or she is in itself a public administration. Most of the public employee in Pakistan, if you have some discussion with the employees, they would not describe themselves as administrative. They will think that they are not administration, but they are. As I have just made it clear, that every person is a part of the organization, part of the institution, part of the executive, and he is a public administration. For example, taking my example from the front, I am working in the Comsat Institute of Islamabad. I can say that I am a public administration because I have some of the duties, I have some of the responsibilities that I have to function. So I am a public administration. A teacher sitting in the school, a government school, he is also a public administration. A clerk working in any capacity, he is also the public administrator. The next definition, if I go of the same occupational category, it says that it is an essay context. This definition looks a bit different from the other. It says that the public administration are competing with each other, and they are competing about their merit, or you can say their recruitment or selection. People in bureaucratic careers tends to rise and fall. Although you will be laughing that in Pakistan there are different determinants of rise and fall of the bureaucrats, but in general we can say that in bureaucratic career many people go on the rise and then fall, and what is the behind this is that they can write well. if you see even a very, you can say, a very low educated person working as a clerk in any of the institution, he is very adept in writing the, you can say, the office language. In a game of shuffling paper, this is just the shuffling of the paper. It is just the shuffling of the paper. The person whose memorandum ends up on the tops wins. So it is an essay write competition among the employees, among the administrator, and who makes good expression of him, he becomes a public administrator. And if oral presentation, it means oral presentation here means that it is an interview also. It is also useful, but writing is more decisive. According to this category, that if you are good in writing, you are a good public administrator. The occupational definition still continues. Do not get confused yourself that why we are going into so detail of the public administration categories definition. It is a very critical subject, and I want to embed all angle of its definition into your mind so that you come up with a specific, a general concept of the definition of the public administration. In idealism, here public administration is idealism in action. It means the public administrator do believe in the idealism, and if they believe in the idealism, and they should believe in the idealism, because if they haven't any idea about the idealism, they cannot take the country to those heights that are required for any of the country. One of the fundamental and the major drawback with Pakistan is that there is no idealism. Idealism up to one's own personality, it is the public administrator are following, but there should be idealism that this country, we would have to take it to the heights that are unprecedented in the world. Many people enter in public service career because they are idealist. I started my career after doing my PhDs, and even before PhD, I have some idealism. Everyone should have that. As I have been related most of the time to the education sector, so the education sector is a very critical for the development, growth, and well-being of a nation. So it was more critical, and up to my best, I tried my utmost to make changes. I am not saying that I made the changes, but I did not stop and did not put any effort behind, and I completed my work for this. So all the public administrators, they should be idealist. When they enter, they think that they are the idealist. They believe in and seek advance noble principle. They believe, definitely beliefs come first, and then comes the you can say the activity or the practicability. They do believe that this could be done, and these true noble high principles. What this idealism draws? Idealism draws people into public administration. I think you too want to be the you can say in the DMG group or OMG group, or you can say foreign ministry whatsoever. So it is an idealism, people that come into the public administration because it provides them the worthwhile and exciting things. These are the opportunities. If I am sitting individually elsewhere in, you can say, in my village or there, although I can serve the humanity, but here I get more opportunities. I have some powers, I have some responsibilities, I have some function, so I can do it properly. So this is the idealism. When people thought about that they will become the IG, DIG, the SPs, I am talking about most of the time police, that it is the general trend in Pakistan that the people go for the DMG groups. So there is an idealism that they want power, they want to serve the community leave behind, that what happens when they go into the service, and they completely change. But if you take the data of many of the government servants in the initial year who are recruited on the merit, in the initial years they provide good performance, they show good performance, but at the later years they too become part of that status quo, and their efficiency decreases over time. So this was the occupational definition of administration. Still it is not closed. The study of art and public administration is an academic field. One step further, it is an academy era, and it is a field, the study of that art and science of management. Management is the most difficult, you can say, most difficult part of any of the organization. If you see, just a few days back, when Misbah-ul-Haq, when Pakistan lost against South Africa and could not just score 182 or 83 runs to win the one-day match at Sharjah, it was the poor management of the team. Our guys were well equipped, but you saw at the end our batsmen were not in a position to just face very early bowling from the South African. I would not like to say that there was some extra bowling from the South African, but it was the poor management of resources of the Pakistani team. And I think at the end, in the presentation ceremony, Misbah-ul-Haq also admitted this fact that I am explaining here. So now it is not only a art, it has become a science. It should be done in a scientific ways, because if you are doing it scientifically, definitely it will bring more powerful fruits, and you can go far further with the minimum possible use of the resources. It should be remembered that the resources are limited. If the resources were unlimited, there was no concept of the public administration. Public administration means the use of the limited resources to give maximum well-being to the nation or service to the humanity at a very, very broad level of this. And it incorporates the subject matter of all. It is not taking the subject, public administration is not getting the subject matter from one group, one discipline. It is getting from the political, social, cultural and legal environment. It means it is some kind of interdisciplinary approach that is called the public administration. It gets its subject matter, the theories, the study. It has its own studies and theories that we will discuss later on, but its subject matter is a combination of many of the disciplines that affect the running of public institution. Public institutions are just not run by like the machines. There are some cultural differences, there are religious differences, there are you can say the ethnicity problem, many of things. And the good public administration is that you incorporate all those differences and then try to make a team and then go for the task. This is a cross-disciplinary, I have just explained. It is a political science. I can say that the public administration is a part of political science. It is a sociology, because as I said, that there are social differences among the employees or among the people. Business administration, this is also the business administration. It is psychology. Psychology means it is directly related to psyche of the people. If a public administrator is unable to understand, study, read or observe the psyche of the people, he is unable to perform in a better way. It is a law also. It is a law, anthropology, medicine, forestry and so on. So what is this? What is the conclusion of this slide? That it is an interdisciplinary approach. It is not only art, but it has become a science, and it is art and science of management. Occupational definitions go further. I think this is the last step, and we will see that what the academians say about this. Occupational definition: public administration is a profession. So look at this. Now they call it that it's a profession, like many other profession, teaching, engineering, doctor, whatsoever. This is now a kind of profession, a body of academic and practical knowledge that is applied to serve the humanity. This word is very, very comprehensive. This is based on some academic, that is the theory, and practical knowledge. For what kind of practical knowledge? It is practical, that is applied to serve the human. The ultimate objective of the public administration, or let me more you can say open, that the ultimate objective of any of the discipline is the service of the humanity. I am very sorry to say that our public administration in Pakistan is some bit different from it, but the theory, the textbook definition of all the discipline, all the public administration measure should be the well-being of the nation. So what is the service of the society? Every state that governs the people is aiming at that it will serve the humanity in a different way. It will provide health to the people. It will standard health, not such kind of health that is happening in Pakistan. The people are in the queues. There are so many people, and against them only there is one doctor. It is a very, very low ratio in the 21st century, when the world has done enormous progress on different fields. It is education. Look at the education. I have been a part of the education, and I am still a part of the education. It is very sorry to say that the education sector in Pakistan at the brink of disaster, and if there are not some critical policy about the education, some public administration innovation, this is going to lose its importance over time. It is going to lose its identity, and as it is the fundamental part of any of the development in any of the country, so it will the Pakistan will be difficult for the Pakistan to survive without this. So service of the humanity is a very broad concept, just not concentrating on the health and education. You can ask about the traveling, air traveling, the voyage, the motorways, the national highways. All these are the service humanity, and the service of the society or the service of the humanity. A standard of success. What is the standard of success? Theoretically measured by serving the needs of society. In Pakistan, public administration administrator, including you can say me also, first we see our own personality, our individuality, and we try to fulfill our own needs by hook or crook. This is devastating. This is going to destroy this, you can say, unprecedented country due to its resources, human resources, that the people are extraordinarily talented. Our resources are lying the surface of this land, enormous coal, gas, petrol, and diamonds. Everything is uranium. Everything is there, but this is the poor public policy, poor public administration, that we are facing the environment that even some of the African countries are now even above us. And if you see, take the example of the Bangladesh, they are also progressing more as compared to us. So that needs serving the need rather than seeking purely personal gain. This is, you can say, the very hard fact that we are running behind our personal gain, and until and unless we leave behind this personal gain, we will not be able to serve the humanity. It is the first hurdle, it should be removed on any cost, it is very difficult. I have no objection to admit that it is very difficult, even you can say almost impossible, but there are examples that the people have done wonders by ignoring their own personal gain and just sacrificing for the society. And there should be people, and I still believe that in many of the administration there are people who are you can say the unapplauded heroes that are working for the society. They are quiet and calm, they have no respect from the humanity or in their institution, but they never compromise, they never put in front of them their personal gain, ignoring the societal gain. A system of control over the other its part of definition is it is a system of control over the professional practices that regulates the education of new members and maintains both code of ethics and appropriate sanction. Every public administration has code, rules and regulation that you can say that these are the limit in which a public administrator have to go. Every time it is, and it is the people may make boast of this, that when they break the law of Pakistan and they think that they are above the law. If I am sure you have the experience that the people break the traffic signal and they never take care about this. So the public administration is just the rules and regulation, the application of this, and the ethics is there and the appropriate sanction. Appropriate means here that according to the nature of the humanity. There should not be, that law cannot be sustainable, or you can say the effective, if it is not appropriate or it is matched with the desire or nature of the humanity. From the academic perspective, this is you want to see that after completing four definitional aspects, first was the political, the second was the legal, the third was the organizational or managerial, and the just we have completed, that is the occupational definition of the public administration. Now we see that what the academic perspective of this is, of this definition. It defines the study of public administration as a program that prepares individual. It means the preparing of the individual, making policy, implementing each and everything that is according to the policy. It is part of the public administration. It is as a program that prepares individual to serve as a manager in the executive arm of local. Now there is a difference here. I will talk about the executive, the judiciary, the legislature at later stage. But here the academics are just concentrating on that this is only the executive role, not the judiciary role, although it is, these things are interlinked. So it is only concentrating that what is the public administration? It is the recruitment, it is the preparation of the individual to serve as the manager. Managers are the administrator. These are the management and the administration. I will keep on using these words alternatively in the next discussion. And what kind of this executive arm of? These are the local level, very low level, grassroots level. And in Pakistan now in December, now there are going to there are the election of at the local level, at the Union Council level. It is the executive arm of the local, state and federal government. The same situation in Pakistan. We have the local government, we have the provincial government, and we have the federal government. There are certain delimitation of the jurisdiction of each and every and these state local, these provinces and the other, इनके दरमियान जो सब इख्तियारात की तकसीम का जो दायरा कार है clearly it has been defined. Federal government, and that what should be the focus of these executive or the management, focus on the systematic study of executive organization and management. The academic definition is a bit, in one kind it is restrictive, in the other kind I can say it is more broader, because it is true targeting the objective, that it is the study of executive. If you just confine this up to here and here, it is also the comprehensive of this definition, that the systematic study of executive organization and the management. Systematic study, how the people are recruited into the organization, what is the criteria for this, what is happening in the, what are the, you can say, the criteria of the powers of one and other person. And this study is called, if we study this organizational behavior, this institutional behavior, then it is called the academic perspective of the this public administration. It also includes the instructions in the roles. Now further explanation, the study of public administration or the public administration is the instruction of the roles, what the people will do, development, how to develop the organization, the institution, the human being, and personal principles of the public administration. The management of public policy, the executive legislative relations, public budgetary process and financial management, administrative law, public personnel management, professional ethics, and research method. I have written all these things, but it is only, you can say, a very small part of the definition of the public administration. Although I have tried my best to include as many factors as I could, but still I have no hesitation to explain this, that all those factors are not being included here. So if you look at some of the factors that we will discuss, we will keep on discussing in the public administration, you can see that it is a role of the administrators and the employees. It is the development program, it is the public administration, the management of public policy. You make the public policy, the policy maker gives you the frame, and you can say that is the legislator that gives the constitution, and then there are other policy makers who make policies at different level. As they make the policy, the function of the public administration come into the scenario, and it has to implement all these policies irrespective of the one thing or the other. It is only, they are not allowed to change it in one way or the other. They can give feedback if they face any problem at the local or the grassroots level. They are allowed to give back the feedback, so that in the later position the policy is improved, but when it is framed, they will have to implement in letter and spirit. I would like to exemplify. There is now a talk of the town that there is a negotiation just going to be convened between TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and the government of Pakistan. So the modalities have been almost finalized. And what this will, as the government says, unfortunately, if the negotiation fails, the government will immediately come to the second option, that is to ensure the writ of the government in all part, even one very small corner of the Pakistan. It is the duty of the state to ensure it writ. For example, government says to the public administration who are responsible for the, definitely government is responsible for the maintaining law and order, but it has to go further, and it gives the task to the army or the intelligence agencies. Rather, I would like to speak a further comprehensive word, that is the establishment, that to ensure law and order situation in the areas where there is no lack of, the areas that lacks this, then they have to follow it blindly. Now they can make policies according to their resources. Now the government will not interfere. Now the army personnel, it is the duty of the General Ashfaq Parvez Kiani, that is just going to be retired in you can say couple of months, and I don't hope that when you will be listening this lecture there will be Ashfaq Parvez Kiani. So it is his modalities that how he administers. Now the policymaker have no right to intervene here. Now they knows the problem, or you can say the issues that are related to this or that one. It is also a financial management. Finance is the key to the progress of any of the public administration. For example, if the government of Pakistan says that in the next 5 years it will increase the share of education expenditure up to 20% of GDP, the people will laugh about it, because it is not possible, because over the 66 years to date, now we are in 2013, 66 years we could not increase the education portion of expenditure up to the more than 2 or 3%. So only there should be viability. Making high plan is very easy, but they should be evaluated in the context of the financial management. If you have no financial management, you are not a good public administrator. For example, if I say that I will double the salaries of the ComSat Institute, if I am the rector of the ComSat Institute, or you can say I am the authorized person to do this, it will not work, because I will have to keep on the resources. If the resources exist, I should go for such kind of the measure. It is the personnel management also. It is related to the human development, ethics and research method. Ethics is one critical part. Even the traditional public administration, there is a critical role of ethics. Ethics, what is ethics? It is debatable. It is different from me to others. In European, they have different ethics. We have different ethics. But certainly, there is a role of the ethics and the research method. Research method enable a public administration to choose the best available option at a specific time. The societies, the countries that do not use these research method, they are making the public administration at a very, very high cost. And you know, the resources are limited. It means they are diverting their resources to unproductive purposes that should be decreased extraordinarily if we are doing such kind of research method. Now we have completed the definition of the public administration, and we are now step by step, gradually at snail pace, but steadily we are going towards that what is the public administration and what it should be. The previous discussion was totally about the definition, the textbook definition of the public administration, 4 or 5 types. I would not like to repeat those. What the public administration should do, what the people, the societies, the communities accept from the public administrator. The first is that there should be the preservation of the polity. State institution, any kind of, if there is the situation, the first function of the public administration that it should work for the preservation of the polity. If institution exists, the public administration exists. Fortunately, if a country exists, then there is the discussion of the public administration. But unfortunately, very, very critical in context of Pakistan, that if a country doesn't exist, there is no role of public administration. We have the power, we have the respect, we have the regard, only due to that the Pakistan exists. So the first and the fundamental, the basic, the grassroots expectation of the public administration function is that there should be the preservation of the polity. Polity means it could be a very small public institution, it could be the whole state. If you look at 2 or 3 major public entities in Pakistan, you will come to know that we are running to the wall, time is getting short, and we have no concern about how to get rid of these public administration problems. For example, PIA, Pakistan International Airline, it was one of the once it was one of the first 10th international airlines. Now it is you can say at its lowest level. It is rather than giving profit to the state, it is eating a huge portion of our budget. It is now working on the, you can say, the ventilator. It is consuming many of the subsidies that are already very rare for Pakistan. So every institution, for example, I will say the public administration, the first function of the public administration in the steel mill of Pakistan is that the entity remains intact, otherwise there will be no problem. How this could be achieved, this is another discussion that different theories state how could this be achieved, and one theory or the one scenario may be different from the other one. Maintenance of stability and order. This is, you can say, the next step. If the state exists, it should ensure its right. It should ensure its right, its government, or you can say its power or its jurisdiction. I can share with the surety that if the government of Pakistan ensure its rights in each and every corner of Pakistan, 90% of the problem of this country will be solved automatically. For example, we are always talking about that there is no investment in Pakistan. Why there should be investment in Pakistan? When the people are being kidnapped, the children of the rich people, or you can say the industrialists, are being kidnapped, there is no guarantee that at any time there could be blast in any part of the Pakistan. There is no guarantee that there will be no terrorist attack on any of the industry. Then how the investor can come to the country? Many times efficiency has decreased due to this law and order situation in Pakistan. Now in Pakistan, this is a unique phenomena that the jails are being thrashed by the terrorists, and they are in a position to take back their accomplices, their companions, and the whole state remains cool and calm, and every functions are, you can say, the paralyzed. For example, you can take the example of the Bannu jail. Bannu jail, you have listened lot about this. This is the total failure of the public administration. I can guarantee that there was our forces, our other law and order agencies has 100% potential to carry out resistance against such kind of, it is a very minor, you can say, the attack, but the terrorists did it so successfully that it cannot, it becomes and that it is only a phenomena it becomes some imaginary thing that how this happened there. So the maintaining of law and order, the stability and law and order are complement to each other. As there is the law and order situation improved, the stability also improves. The macroeconomic variable tend to their true representation, and the country becomes, there is growth and what kind of this. The third function, what should be the public administration? The third is that the institutionalization of socio-economic change. I would like to say that आईने नौ से डरना, तर्ज़े कोहन पे अड़ना, मंजिल यही कठिन है कौमों की जिंदगी में. The change is the integral part of any of the system. The failure of the public administration, or you can say the status quo of the public administration, is that we mean the developing countries, and particularly in Pakistan, we never allow the change to come into our public administration to become a part. Once we make a policy, we implement over a long period of time when there is a huge criticism, hue and cries, and then ultimately the eyes opens of our policymaker, and there is a very small change, and after 1 or 2 years you can see that there is again need that how to implement this its implementation becomes difficult. The socio-economic change, the demographic change, the cultural change, these should be incorporated in the public administration. The success guarantee is that if these changes are incorporated, that are the you can say the indispensable for any of the society, the public administration go in a more concrete and a positive way. Management of large-scale commercial services. The commercial services, yes, this is an era of commercialism, and people are moving themselves that the government should reduce its role to the maximum and there should be the market forces. True it is, the large-scale commercial services, these should be managed in a very, very proper way. One of the large scale is, there are two factors. One is that the externalities, that you can say the cost decreases. When the other is, just I would like to explain it, the other is that the private sector hesitate. First I would like to explain that the extent large scale organization means like the PIA, the steel mills. These are large scale organization and these should be administered properly because the cost becomes minimum at this for these all of the organization. And when they provide the commercial services, the efficiency should increase and it should be clear from the function of the public administration that they are doing in a proper way. The other is that why the government should give the large-scale commercial services. This is due to the reason that the public sector always hesitates to invest, for example, in a bigger project. For example, if the government asks a private sector to make an airport or the motorway from Islamabad to Karachi, they will hesitate due to two reasons. One, they think that these are not the profitable, it will bring profit after so many years. The other is that they have not enough resources to come up with this. So the management of large scale commercial services is also part of the public administration. Ensuring growth and economic development. Now I would like to just clarify between what is the economic development, and I will go one step further, that is the well-being. What is the growth? Growth means that a country's GDP in real term grows over time. It grows at a higher speed. For example, if we think that if it is in double digit, that Pakistan have never seen double digit growth, it means our growth rate of the economy in real term have never been more than the 9%. The other is the growth. This is the simple concept of the growth, that the GDP, gross domestic product, or you can say the income, being a layman like me, that the income, the real income of a country increases at a, you can say, a good pace. And you can guess that the China's growth has been more around about 10% over the last 20 years. So it is a big achievement. 20, if you do not believe in 20, you can go at least for the 10 to 15 years. So it is a huge achievement. Look at how the contrast is there. Pakistan is a country of the 66-year history, but I am saying that we have never seen the dream of 10% growth, real GDP growth rate. On the other side, the China, that is neighbor to us, it is growing at the pace of 10% over the 15 years, and it is maintaining. Sometimes there is small decline in this figure, but ultimately it goes on. Economic development is different. When there is growth, it is not necessarily that the fruits or the outcomes of this growth are going equally to all segments of the society. It is quite possible that there is a wealth concentration in a few hands. For example, I would like to say that the richer are becoming more and more richer, and the poor are coming more and more poorer. The rich has more command. They are almost taking more than the 80%. A few rich persons are have the control over the 80% resources of the country. I am just supposing. So the economic development says no. Growth is only the necessary condition, but not the sufficient condition for the well-being, or you can say the progress of a country. The benefits, the trickle-down effects of this growth should reach the most poor, or you can say the weaker segment of the society. By the way, I am talking about the income, equal distribution of the income. Pure economic term, equal distribution of the income. It means that there should be a mechanism. What kind of mechanism? Policy and then public administration. Total failure of the public administration, Pakistan, in making the economic development. Growth may be there, although nowadays there is no growth, but if there is growth, even our policies are pro-rich, not the pro-poor, and they are giving extraordinary benefits only to the richer that have already, you can say, the many huge resources, massive resources, these all the rich people have. So after the economic development, it means that all the basic needs are provided to all segment. All segment means definitely the poor are more representative. So I was talking about the growth and economic development. Economic development means when all the basic needs, now it is a very you can say the relative term. If basic needs of any of the person are not fulfilled, we say that there is not the economic development. And this concept, that is the well-being, that it is quite possible that on the part of the government, policy makers are very happy that they are providing the government, the people, very good facilities, but on the same time people are not satisfied with their facilities. They want some other kind of facilities, or they want some other methods of this facilities. For example, if you provide a road to a village, it could be more effective rather than providing them, you can say, a good hotel there. So if policymakers make public administrators take decision that there should be a hotel, then the public administration will become happy that this is the economic development. But this is not the economic development, because the people want education, roads and basic needs, safe drinking water, or such kind of thing. So when we study the behavior of the people and they become more satisfied with the government, this is called the economic well-being. Protection of weaker section of the society. If we do not bother about Pakistan public administration, they are against the weaker segment of the society. Go to any of the police station. If you have not enough resources, now resources also means the power. If you have no power, you will be treated as a foreigner. They do not think that you are the part of the Pakistan. But what the public administration should show, it should more concentrate on the protection of the weaker segment of the society. The rich can take they can take care of themselves because they have resources, but the poor, they need the attention of the government. They are more vulnerable to the many of the problem, and the public, they are more looking at the public administration to provide them, to help them come out of many of the problem. So the weaker segment of the society should be at the top agenda of any of the public administration. In other words, or simple words, I can say that the public administration should be pro-poor rather than the pro-rich. In Pakistan, the situation is different. However, this situation cannot sustain over a long period of time. Ultimately, either we have to surrender or we have to change our behavior of public administration, and I am sure we will be taking the second choice. That is the more important. We will keep our identity. We have to go for this. Formation of public administration. This is about the rules and regulation. Most of the times, if you see that the people are talking about that this is the responsibility of that institution, institution. So there should be clearly rule defined that what should be done by which person. If there is ambiguity of the responsibility sharing, then no one is going to accept it. It is human nature. So you should be more objective rather than the subjective. You should be giving, clarifying each and everything, each part, that which should take the other one. What I am going to say, what is my purpose to explain this one, that there should be a clear formation of the administration. In any of the public institution, if you go for this, you can see what is the hierarchy of this public administration. And the last but not the least is that influencing the public policies. Influencing public policies, that all the public policies are and should be followed by the public administration. It should influence, it should implement, it should impose the public policy, any kind of public policy. Very sorry to say, again, very repetition of my argument, that randomly select any of the policy. For example, I take the randomly selection, the environment policy. Look at this, our environment is being destroyed by the timber mafia. You are well aware of this timber mafia, that what is this happening? The whole world is crying, the environmental scientists are crying that this environment is to swallow all of this if we do not change the situation. There are greenhouse effects, the temperatures are increasing over time. So, but we are not heeding any attention towards any of the statement being given by any of the policymakers. So the purpose of here is that we should influence the public policies. What is the scope of the subject? At fullest range, if I say, the public administration embraces every era and activity under the jurisdiction of public policy. So what is this? Wherever there is a public policy, there is public administration. So it means its scope is very, very long, starting from education to the armed forces. By established usage, the term has come to signify primarily the organization, personal practices and procedure essential to effective performance of the civilian function entrusted to the executive branch of government. What is this? All the policymakers entrust the public administration that they should now serve the community. If they are taking this position, it is, you can say, it is a very, very vast scope of the subject. The public administration is about, if we try to define its scope, it is about the what and the how. What should be done and how it should be done. Because what will delimit the role, and the how will tell that how to take these options applicable, because there are many methods, many roles that can do for this. Piffner, a social scientist, identify that public administration is concerned with what and how. We will explain that what is what and what is how. It is not what and how of the you and me, it is of the government. What the what means? Technical knowledge. Technical knowledge of a field which enables an administrator to perform his task. On many, it is very interesting that on many of the seats you will see the people who doesn't have the knowledge of their own subject. Subject not mean now I am talking about the academic or the subject matter, their role. I am saying they are not a suitable person for that role. So the first is what should be what is its scope, that the people should have the technical knowledge of their field. If they have not, they are not good public administration. There are 4 groupings of subject matter. what knowledge they should have. It was a very you can say the broad term, that the technical knowledge. Now we are going to specify it, that what should be the scope of their subject matter. There are 4 groupings of the subject matter. What government does. What government does? Determination of objective. Government को करना क्या है? We are still you can say are not exactly clear. Even any of the public administrator is not exactly clear about his role. For example, nowadays you are listening about that the Taliban and the government are going to engage each other in the negotiation, and there is the critics that the government is not clear about to which segment or which group of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan it should negotiate. There are criticism. So the what government does, first of it should have to define its objective. State objective, there are the institutional objective, there are the local objective. And inter-administrative policies, how one institution is not totally different from other. There is an interlink. For example, police, the communities, the rangers, you are now watching nowadays in the Karachi, rangers and police are helping each other, not taking the ransom but ensuring the law and order situation. So the internal administration policy and plans, the government should have the plans, clear plan. The more clear you are in your plans, the more you are good, you can say the public administration and range of government business, governmental business. Government, how much government should go into the intervention of the free market. For what I am going to say, कि गवर्नमेंट को कौन कौन सी सर्विसेज जो है वो प्रोवाइड जो है वो करनी चाहिए. द व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द व्हाट एंड हाउ ऑफ द पब्लिक पॉलिसी, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. सो द व्हाट हैज द 4 अंडरपिनिंग्स, द 4 मीनिंग्स. द फर्स्ट इज दैट द व्हाट गवर्नमेंट डज it. The simplest is that it sets its objective. How government organize its staff to implement its policies. The government needs staff. How it arrange its staff, it finances. I explained that what is mean by the finances, that are the critical, or these are the finance is like the blood. The role of finance is like a blood as in the human body. Its work, that is its structure of the government. That there should be a structure of the government organization. There should be plan. And there should be the finances available also. If the finances are not available, the strategy is not going to work. The third one is how administration secure cooperation and teamwork. This cooperation and teamwork is very necessary. For example, if any of the player, even a single player who is not, you can say, the very good player of a team, if he is not cooperating, the team cannot win. The team cannot perform well. What is the reason behind this? Because if even he drops a single catch of Sachin Tendulkar or many other players, the situation will be totally changed. The public administrator should have the groups, the teams, the cooperation qualities, and they should study the study of such administrative responsibilities, leadership, direction, coordination, delegation, headquarters, field relationship, supervision and public relation. Very vast again. Go one by one for this, that the public administration problems are discussed here. This which responsibility, what are the leadership role of this, and what are the supervision and the public relation. The fourth and the last one is how administration is held accountable. This is very important, and in Pakistan, the real, you can say, the stakeholder of Pakistan, they are not accountable to everyone, to any of the institution. This is making many problems. I am talking about the establishment, particularly the Pakistan Army. They think that they are not answerable about any of the institution, particularly the democratic institution, the parliament. Yes, in some extent they are right, because there are some secrets funds for whatsoever, but ultimately if they are not totally accountable, it will create the problem. So the one part of the public administration is that what it should be, it should have been the accountability mechanism. Without the accountability mechanism, there will be no efficiency, or you can say the betterment of the resources. This means study of intercontrol, how there is intercontrol and control of administrative activities by the legislature and courts. Now two more pillars of the states are on the scene: the legislature, that are the parliament, and the courts that interpret the laws, and the other, they ensure they give decision on some of many of the issues within the government and the people, or within the governments, or within even the people. So this was the what of the government. And now how of the administration? What should be? There are techniques of management. How the administration or the public administration should be carried out. There are some different approaches for this. We will study this, that what these are resources approaches, which is better and which is not as effective as compared to the other. Now I am going towards the summary of today's lecture. I think it is time for the curtain to fall. What we discovered out, still this is the third lecture, and we are just reeling slowly at the bottom, and we are just delimiting our area of study. We are defining public administration, and we have talked about this. Today we started from the occupational definition of the public administration. Then we talked about what the academic definition is about the public administration. It was just, you can say, the listing of some of the functions, some of the aspects of the public administration. Later on we discussed that what the public administration should be. This was, you can say, the regime shift in our this public administration course that we are going to uncover, because the previous one was the definition. So what the public administration should, what it should look like, what are the expectations of the society, the country from the public administration, and how it should proceed. Then we explained, then it depends on two things, that what and how. What we explained, what governments will do, or what the government should do for this or that. And then we just completed that what is how it should. There are some of the mechanism for implementation of this. We will continue our discussion. So thank you very much. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.